You are listening to the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast with your host, Aaron Zamzow.
Hey everybody, Aaron Zamzow here again with the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast. Today I wanted to talk about resiliency. This is the second addition to a three-part kind of podcast series that I'm doing about how to become a resilient firefighter. And this second part, part two, is going to talk about mental health and fitness. And what's the connection and how can fitness really help out with the mental health side and help you manage a lot of things through your mental health. I just actually did an article for Firehouse magazine on this particular topic. And actually this podcast will talk a little bit about what I kind of learned from the research on that and, a little bit more, dig a little bit more into what we're talking about with that particular article. Resiliency, though, let's just talk about that for a minute. We talked about it in the first part, but it's really considered the ability of an individual to bounce back from traumatic events and deal with stress in healthy ways. So a resilient first responder will use effective coping strategies to adapt in the face of adversity. Now, we know what happens in the fire service. A lot of times we find other means that maybe aren't very healthy, alcohol, drugs. There's a plethora of other things, abusive relationships, bad relationships. All that, I think, really can stem from just the way we deal with what we see on a daily basis. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why exercise and fitness can really help with the mental aspect and with resiliency and how our bodies and minds respond. So first and foremost, right now we're still in the middle of COVID. As the country and the world starts to open up again, there's still stress going on with racial relations and protests and all these different things. Elections going on, fires burning wildly on the West Coast. So the world is in a stressful time right now. And that's why it's really important to make sure that you invest in exercise right now. Exercise, it's not about improving aerobic capacity and muscle size, although that is a huge reason to exercise. But the other side of that is, just exercising, modestly, taking a walk for 30 minutes every single day. Can help you really bring you a sense of well-being. It helps with sleep. It helps with, joint function. It helps actually with digestive processes. And it ultimately can reduce a lot of the stresses that we have, in our environment right now. But notice what I said about that consistent exercise. One of the things that happens is you can go out and work out for that day and it's going to do you some good. But in order to reap the benefits of a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about with exercise, you need to do it consistently. And most of the research out there shows, 30, 60, 90 consistently days of exercise really will help with, first off, it helps reduce stress. And, obviously we're under a lot of stress with our jobs. There's a lot of stress going on right now in the country, like we were talking about, and all around us. So this exercise, not only can lead to, stress on the body, which actually, you stress your body, but that leads to physiological processes that, kind of force your body to deal with them in a more positive way. So, exercise, personally, when I exercise, it kind of takes me away. It gives me about 30 to 40 to 50 minutes where I don't have to think about those stresses. And for me, that's one of the biggest things is that it just gives me an escape, a positive escape. And then when you're done exercising, you get the endorphins, you feel good about yourself, you get that self-worth, and that kind of builds on the rest of the day and the next coming days. Research-wise, studies show that exercise can treat mild depression. It does that just as effectively as actually antidepressant medications. But then you don't get the side effects. So, consistent exercise helps with depression. It helps with stress management. It also, is a natural anti-anxiety treatment. It relieves tension and it relieves stress, which we talked about. And then that can enhance our physical well-being and our mental well-being with the endorphin releases that we have there. So, the other thing is that you kind of get a sense of calm after exercising. And for me, we talked about that kind of, you get a mental escape and you get that endorphin release. But for me, in a world where you don't feel like you can control much, exercise gives me that sense that I still have something that I can control. And I think, that's the really important factor that we don't talk about is, we look around our environment and there's so much stress. Our departments might be, doing some stuff that sometimes stress us out, but exercise is that one thing that you can do. And I highly encourage that, you to get started, not only for your physical well-being, but for your mental well-being. So again, exercise makes us strong, helps us move better. And what I wanted to hit home today is that it helps combat depression. It helps combat anxiety. It can help you with your PTSD. It can give you a better sense of self-worth. It's tough for me to say, but all these things can go along with it. And I think it's kind of the unsaid things that the other aspects of fitness that aren't really talked about, especially in firehouses, and need to be. Right now we in the fire service, we have cancer, we have mental health, we have PTSD, we have suicide. That's talked about a lot, and it needs to be talked about. How do you combat it? And it's getting off your butt and moving more. And which leads me to my next point. We talk about consistent. Look, if you're not working out and you're lacking energy, you're lacking motivation, my suggestion is make a commitment just to start moving for 5 minutes, 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to go for a 5-minute walk. And that, I guarantee, will lead to a 10, 15, 20, 30. And then eventually you get an FRF program in you and you'll really start to work out more like a fire rescue athlete. But I know what it's like to be in a funk where you don't want to work out. You don't feel like you have the energy. But the other aspect of that is that you took an oath being a first responder. You took an oath to your crew. You took an oath to your family. You took an oath to your community to be the best you can be and provide the best service. And being more fit does that. Being more mentally prepared does that. And fitness and exercise can help you be that better first responder. So when you think about it, we don't have excuses. And so if you're struggling, there are resources out there if you're really, truly struggling with depression and energy. But, a lot of us, we get in this funk, start to move more and set a goal. The next month, just work out 12 times in the next month. And that could be 5 to 15-minute walk, right? And then the next month, you add in mobility work. And the next month, you add in strength. And before you know it, you're down some pounds, you have more energy. I guarantee you guys that once you start moving, you will feel better. And that's the whole basis of this podcast today. That's the whole basis of this message, is to consistently work out. And if you're looking for things to help motivate you mentally, that's fitness is a huge component to that. So start small, start slow, but get started. There is really no excuse for us right now or anytime to not be working out. If you're injured, you shouldn't be working as a first responder, firefighter, or EMT. You should be working on your rehab. And if you're lacking that energy, start taking steps literally to improve your health and improve your fitness. A little bit goes a long ways. Consistency is the key to this. And, if you're really interested, you can dig more into the research behind mental health and exercise. One of the interesting things that I found here is I mentioned it earlier that consistent exercise is more effective than antidepressants. They're combating a lot of PTSD right now with fitness and exercise programming. Yoga is something that is being incorporated in a lot more firehouses to help us as first responders kind of get in touch with breath and what we're feeling and what we're thinking, and to not necessarily control our thoughts more, but just to explore what we're really feeling. And I highly encourage that. As a matter of fact, I started doing this 10-minute yoga routine. Sometimes I'll do it at the Firehouse. A lot of times I'll do it for recovery. And I just feel like I have a lot more patience with people. I feel like I have a little bit more energy, and I'm just a lot more grounded. And these are all things that go along with improvements when you are consistently working out. Now, the other side of this is nutrition. And, I didn't talk too much about that in the Firehouse article. I'll leave a link to the article. I think it's one of my better ones, and that I'm very proud that I wrote. But high sugar diets, these energy drinks, too much caffeine, all these artificial sweeteners can really help, can really hinder your thought processes, can give you a cloudy brain, and they can also really hurt you mentally. There is some increased research out there about inflammation and its relation to these high sugar foods, and inflammation can also lead to poor mental health. They're starting to draw the correlation that people that are highly inflamed, they don't think as well. Their cognitive thinking, again, is depleted, and then also their mental health status can be depleted as well. So there are so many reasons to stay fit. Just take a look around at your family, your crew, and then take a breath and look in the mirror and understand that fitness can help, get you through a little bit of a depression, can get you through that lack of energy phase, and can help with PTSD and us deal with the traumas and the stresses of the job. So that's my point I wanted to hit home. I hope it resonates a little bit, maybe motivates you to just get off the chair, get out of the leathers, and go for a 5-minute walk. If you aren't working out during shift, a 15-minute walk, 5, 15, 10, whatever it might be, a little walk just around the Firehouse with a little bit of stretching and a little bit of just go to a corner and take some deep breaths for about 5 minutes. You'll feel a lot better. And consistently doing that, you'll start to decrease your stress. You'll feel like you're not as foggy, and you have a lot more patience and energy. So with that, again, check out the links here at FRF. We have a lot of stuff going on. I highly encourage you to go to firerescuefitness.com. Check out the workout programs. If you're looking for guidance, coaching, and you need motivation, we got a league of over 2,000 firefighters, EMTs, and medics that are going through FRF programs right now. We just launched the FRF 5K, which is a virtual workout event to benefit the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Very proud about that. So I'd love to have you join that as well. But please check us out. Let me know what you think of this episode. Stay safe, stay fit, and stay healthy, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast. Please check back soon for more Q&A with your host, Aaron Zamzow.